Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a serial entrepreneur, international speaker, results strategist, business coach, mentor, and consultant. Today, I have an awesome guest. She's an entrepreneur and the CEO and founder of business Bravery. She's the leading premium and luxury offer business strategist in the world for personal brands and CEOs transitioning to their legacy business. She helps entrepreneurs create a potent personal brand that sells million-dollar offers to luxury clients. She helps her clients identify their true passion and then represents them to create massive impact through their speaking, media, networking, and publishing opportunities. Welcome, Kathryn Porritt, and thank you for being on my show.
Oh my goodness, I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for that fantastic, amazing introduction. I really, really appreciate it. We're going to have so much fun. Let's do this. Let's do it.
It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much as well for being here, Kathryn. I'm sure it's going to be amazing for everyone watching and listening today. So you're a very successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself by telling us about you and your journey.
Yeah, amazing. I would love to. So this is not my first rodeo. I started out after university, I started in marketing and then went into sales and all sorts of things. And I got really excited about the idea of sales and marketing and how big the world could be. I always knew that I wanted to run my own business. So when I was on maternity leave in the corporate world with my first baby, who's now just about 16 years old, I took that moment in time to not only be a mum for the first time, but also to start my first business. And that business turned into one of the biggest e-commerce businesses in Australia. I sold that after 9.5 years, but what it taught me was, this was before Shopify. This was before, we had to literally code our first e-com website. So we were really in that sort of greenfield space in the e-commerce world. It taught me a lot about volume marketing, the digital world. I was there through a lot of the first parts of every part of the digital world, when Google AdWords were launching and all of those fun things, and Facebook ads became a big thing and social media became a big thing. I was lucky enough to have quite a substantial following. I wrote a book, did all sorts of lovely things. And then I sold that business and was in a very privileged position to then make a decision about what I wanted to do from here. And I made a very deliberate decision that I liked the idea of picking and choosing who I worked with and working at the highest end of the market. I was really in a great position to be able to say, you know what? I'm in this great place now. I want to really think about where I spend my time and who I spend it with. And I want to spend it with really great people who challenge me. I love hanging out with super, super, super intelligent people who are brilliant at what they do. I know that I'm really, really good at branding and price strategy and marketing. And so when you can put those two things together, we can create, really extraordinary, magical outcomes. So that's been the basis of business Bravery. And I've had this business now we're in our third year. We are absolutely killing it. I have a waiting list of people who would like to work with us from a representation perspective. And what we do now is we really focus on representing experts at the highest end of the market to help them leverage a luxury business model so that they can sell their expertise at the 100K, 250K, $500,000, $1 million level, and also commercialize their influence across sponsorships and brand alignment strategies and media and speaking and all of those things. So we have so much fun with our clients. I just love what I do and I'm super passionate about it. So that's why I'm so excited to be here today to talk about what we do and why we should be thinking big and all of those great things, because it just lights me up. I'm literally doing what brings me joy, which is I think what all of us should be doing in business. Otherwise we just go work for someone else, right? Be much easier.
Definitely. I love that. What an amazing intro. And I can definitely feel your passion. I'm sure everybody else can as well. So let's start from the beginning in terms of because I think branding and marketing can mean different things to different people, right? Yeah. So I'd love to hear it just from a general sense about what is branding and marketing to you?
Yeah, great question. And look, from a from everyone knows the definition of branding and marketing, and I'm sure you're just thinking from a mainstream perspective, look, it's my logo, it's how I show up every day, all of those things. It's your website, how you represent yourself to the world. And in the mainstream market, what you see, and probably what you've learned about branding and marketing, is listen to your audience, look at what your competitors are doing, assess the competitive landscape, think about how you can make yourself stand out, and then also listen to your audience and test and optimize, right? That's a volume-based mainstream strategy. And I've been there, I've had a successful business in that place. But a luxury strategy is completely the antithesis of that. That's built around the icon, and it's built around you stepping into your greatness and being what we would call an extreme pioneer. So you create a category of one, and you show up in this space where you never look sideways or behind. You're always looking forward, and you need to learn to trust yourself and brand yourself and position yourself and message yourself around who you are deeply. As a personal brand. So from my perspective, that's really the difference between mainstream branding and what you would probably have learned at university or you've experienced with, a mainstream business coach. And there's loads and loads and loads of them that do really, really good work. But for me, if you're in any way, shape or form interested in the luxury space or working with high net worth individuals or charging at the highest end of the market, then marketing and branding has a completely different definition. And it is about you embodying the icon, stepping into your power and your greatness. You never look forwards or behind, you never look sideways or behind. You're constantly looking forward and going deep and really crystallizing your message in a very powerful and potent way. It's a different way of showing up. And that's what allows you to attract high net worth individuals and serve at this highest level, get the impact that our clients are getting.
Yeah, I love that. Amazing, mindset shifts, different focus about what we've got to do depending on, where we're focusing on in the market. So that's really powerful. And, obviously you touched on personal branding, right? And the way I see it is personal branding is becoming, a lot more important now in the world than business branding. Obviously there's still, a place for business branding, of course, in 2021 where we are now and going forward. So I'd like to hear about maybe a little bit more about how to position ourselves, in this way, so, we can, I guess, leverage that going forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fully a believer in every single person, no matter if you're the CEO or whatever company, that there is the business brand, which is very, very important. But equally, where my focus is on the personal brand. And it's funny when I look back to my own journey. I, as a 20-something-year-old, was working for a lobbying group, and one of the people on the board there, I had a robust discussion with. He was the CEO of a very, very large global company, and I thought that we should be leveraging his personal brand and the personal brands of all of the board members to help position the company at the higher level. So I kind of knew all of this at that point, but he argued black and blue that wasn't what we should be doing. Now, this was a long time ago. But now what's really interesting is that amazing gentleman now uses his personal brand very powerfully. He is now the CEO of another technology company, but very, very high profile personal brand. And so what that says to me is that no matter if you are in a company and the company's brand is the focus of your internal marketing team, or if you are about to launch your personal brand as an author, an expert, a coach, or what have you, your personal brand matters. It really matters. And for those people who have a level of expertise, they're really, really good at what they do. There is a real moment in time. This is an inflection point where there is a moment in time now where you can elevate that personal brand and you can commercialize that influence at the highest level if you know how to do this properly. Don't let all those influencers have all of that market. As an expert, you've got this moment where you can literally, there are brands out there looking for people like you to develop the trust with, and leverage your audience with, create alignment strategies with. There's so much opportunity to commercialize your influence if you can step into your power as a personal brand right now. And you asked me how to do that. So the thing that I always start with my clients is get them to really think about what is the revolution that they would like to lead. I work on the premise that everyone has got a big vision. Everyone who works with me is really looking to change the world in some way, shape, or form. They've got some sort of really big social outcome that they want to achieve, or they want to shift a paradigm, or they want to create systemic change in an industry, or whatever it might be. There's something big that they really want to do. And if you can connect to that revolution, the first exercise that I would have you do is write your manifesto. If you can do that, if you can be really, really honest with yourself about what's your most potent, expanded vision of what you want to achieve here on this planet in your lifetime, what legacy do you want to leave, really connect into that, and then write your manifesto. So much powerful marketing will come out of the back of that. Your branding will be done, your positioning will be done. It's really just this beautiful exercise of expanding the vision of what you want to achieve as a personal brand. So that would be my first step. And then from there, it's really just about working with someone who can take that expanded vision and help you to clearly articulate that, and to be leveraging strategic visibility to get that out into the marketplace. And there's all sorts of components to that. So I work with my clients on the way that they show up with their personal brand and their style and their backdrops and their camera setup and their headshots and all of those things, and their logos and websites and etc. But I think actually once you nail those things, they're kind of easy. The thing that's the most powerful part is connecting in with that expanded vision and constantly living and breathing it and getting that message out into the marketplace and being strategically visible. That to me is the answer to extraordinary change and creating a legacy business from your personal brand. Super fun when we get to that level.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing. I love that vision manifesto thing that you talked about to really, build the foundation from. Really powerful. And obviously you're working with a lot of big, personal brands, right? And I'm sure you see this, because you work with them. There's probably a lot of key traits or things that, these people have that, we should think about adopting, to really position ourselves in the best possible way as well. So what can you share a bit more about that as well?
Yeah, great question. Such a good question. So there's really two types of people that I think do really well with their personal brand. And the first will be those people who have a deep level of expertise. So they're really, really rock star at what they do. So there's like this deep inner knowing that they are the best in the world at what they do. And if it might have been knocked down at some point, I often find that maybe they've shared that big vision or what have you, or we're really bad at this in Australia with the tall poppy syndrome. Like we're constantly having to, be humble and don't brag and all of these things. You come work with me, I'm going to kick that out of you really fast. And know that, I'm going to want you to be alpha and step into your powerful greatness. And some people aren't going to love that, but equally you're going to bring a very powerful audience, magnetize a very powerful audience if you can step into that. So I think the first characteristic is a deep level of expertise. I don't work with anyone who is selling smoke and mirrors. You actually ought to do what you say that you are able to do. It can be a tiny, tiny little niche. I work with people from, defense and aerospace to people in the entertainment world where they've got huge followings. It doesn't need to be a big niche. It can be tiny, tiny, tiny. But what's the biggest claim you can make to be best in the world at it? Claim it, own it, and then step into that greatness. And then we can put all the shine and polish all over that. That's easy. But you've got to bring that level of expertise. The other ideal person would be the one that's very good at the charismatic part of it. They've already got a big following. So a number of our clients are already on TV, or they've got, some sort of big following as an author or a speaker, what have you. And then what we're doing is helping them then to commercialize that. So how do we take what they already know about getting their message out to the market and then commercializing that in a way that they can literally add millions? So I think it's it's a combination of both. We can teach one way or the other, but they tend to be the things that we're looking for. And it's that kind of elusive rock star thing. But ultimately, as long as you're an elite expert, if you're really good at what you do, even if it's in the tiniest niche and you don't have any followers, you can make this work. You just need to step into that greatness and really powerfully own that big vision that you have for the world.
Yeah, I love that. Really powerful to, get those different distinctions there. So, you mentioned it before about crafting these, luxury offers, right? Of like 100,000 plus. So, do you want to maybe share a little bit more about, how we should take into consideration, like, for these things to be able to then craft a luxury offer? Because, for some people, obviously there's a bit of a mindset thing maybe of like, can I really charge that amount? What things should we think about if, we want to step into that greatness, to be able to charge that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's just one of my favorite topics. So here's the reality of the situation for almost any industry, is that most people look at the top end of the market. They know there's always this 1% of the market that's willing to spend at the highest level. But most people take a look at that and they go, there's going to be so many people up there competing for that 1%. No. I'll just stick down here and I'll play in the mainstream market and I'll discount and I'll, get into that whole volume-based game. The reality of the situation is that 99.9% of people have just made exactly the same decision that you have. And the competition at the 1% of the market, there is virtually none. And it's only the brave, which is why my company is called Business Bravery. It is only the brave who, if you can step into that bravery, can step into those luxury offers, you can work. There is always, I have never found a niche yet where there is not a 1% of the market, where there are high net worth individuals or companies willing to invest in 100K plus offers. The thing is stepping into it and going, okay, I'm going to do this. Now, how do I do that? How do I do that? Okay, I'm going to own it. I'm ready. I've made the decision. The how is not actually that hard. It's a different way of thinking about your offers. So the people at the highest end of the market are very rarely looking for all the bells and whistles that you're used to putting into a low end offer. And a low end offer, you're looking at how much value can I stuff into this thing to make it appear really big and then put a lower offer on it, generally is the rule of what people are trying to do at the low end. At the high end of the market, high net worth individuals and companies who are investing at that level are looking for what's the most efficient and effective way that I can get the transformation that I'm looking for or the outcome that I'm looking for. So it's actually strip away everything that is unnecessary to get the quickest and the easiest and the most effective outcome. And then the kicker is add experience. So it's 3 E's. So it's efficiency and effectiveness. And then how do you add a layer of experience to that? So they're looking for, you step into a Tiffany's or a Chanel boutique or a Maserati showroom, there's that ambiance. They pay attention to the experience, the white glove service. How can you add that in to what you're delivering? Because they are looking for that at that end of the market. If someone's going to invest $1 million with you and you're going to break their addiction for $1 million and you want to take them to a really beautiful place, and it needs to be discreet and private, and there's private chefs and there's this exquisite experience plus an efficient and effective outcome. That is literally it. Literally, it is that simple, but it's about really understanding that market. High net worth individuals and companies who spend at that level really do have a different mindset. So it's just turning your attention. I say to my clients all the time, get out of your own wallet. If you've never spent at that level before, you need to get yourself out of your own wallet. You need to get into the wallet of a high net worth individual or a company who's willing to invest at that level. And that's really the key. It really is that simple. So bravery, understanding the market, efficient, effective, and experience. And then you're off and racing.
Love that. Very powerful. So thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that's provided a lot of value for everyone watching and listening. So let's take it to a point where, we will, like, in business, we want to become successful, right? And have a sustainable business and things. Now, many of the people here may not be at the level of having $1 million, market in their business, right? Or brand at the moment. So if they're at that earlier stage and they want to step into this greatness and create a bigger business so they can help more people or whatever it is as part of that vision, what should we focus on to build our brand, as quickly as possible so that we can have that bigger impact that we want?
Yeah, such a great question again. So I think of the luxury branding strategy as an and strategy. It's not an or strategy. So for most of my clients who are just starting out, I would absolutely be leveraging still funnels and all of, organic social media strategy and those sorts of things. The difference is going to be thinking about who you want to work with at the highest level. So that 1% of the market, imagine yourself speaking to those people and position your messaging to speak to those people. What's going to happen is if you speak that powerfully and with that level of potency, that you would be speaking to that person who would, be a billionaire or whoever you want to work to. If you're literally thinking about that in what you're putting out in your organic marketing or your messaging, what will happen, or your funnels or whatever you're building, what will happen is that the aspirational people will naturally qualify themselves through your process. So you'll be attracting the higher level of people, you'll be attracting a higher caliber of person, and generally then we don't have a targeting problem. So, I've had people come through, we run funnels, we've got a $27 SLO thing and blah, blah, blah. And it works really, really well because I'm talking to the highest end of the market in there, and I don't dumb down any messaging. It's potent, high-level messaging that not everyone's going to get, but the people who do get it are my absolute ideal clients. And it's just added this layer. I never have a problem with targeting because I'm talking at that high level. So that would be my best piece of advice. If you're just starting out, don't make the mistake that you think that you need to dumb down your messaging for the lowest common denominator. Really go big, allow yourself to say what you want to say, and with power and potency, and be brave about your messaging. Talk to the highest end of the market, even if you're trying to sell something at the low end, and it will have an effect with the people that you are attracting, even through a standard mainstream ascension model.
Yeah, I love that. And, I think that comes down to, it's like a bit of quantum physics, right? Like what we focus on, we attract. So being really clear on those elements there. So yeah. Absolutely. So important. Yeah.
I
love that. So then when we go to the next level, say, like, let's say, we've done that, we're getting a lot of momentum, we're building traction, the brand is getting bigger. There's the term influencers, right? Or, people that have influence, in there. So how can we then become the influencer and then, I guess, monetize our brand as well to really then take it to that next level?
Yeah, so fun. Okay, well, this is the thing that a lot of people are just really missing out on. And I'll talk to really high-level coaches or consultants or agency owners or CEOs or whatever, and they've got no idea that they are actually an influencer. Because it's such a dirty word out in the marketplace, right? You think of influencer and you think of this Instagram, I don't know, life coach who's traveling around the world taking pictures of themselves. They're fine, they're doing their thing. But really what brands are looking for, they're looking for people who have a trusted audience. They're not looking for bots and, that it's the volume of audience members that you have is neither here nor there to most brands who really understand influencer strategy. What they're looking for is personal brands, influencers, one and the same, who have a deep level of engagement and trust with their audience. Now, if you do what I was talking about before and you're talking at the highest end of the market and you're developing this level of trust, and you've got an audience that is really magnetized to your message and they're watching you grow and become more powerful every day, that is incredibly attractive to brands. And that's where you can be working with them on developing product lines. You can be consulting to brands. You can be doing brand alignment strategies. You can use standard influencer marketing for things like, affiliate campaigns or what have you. But where it gets really interesting at the highest end of the market is things like board appointments and advisory positions, equity stakes in companies who want you to come in as an advisor. This is when we get into the millions of dollars, right? This is where the true luxury influencers, the true experts, can make a mozza. And this has got nothing to do with people traveling around taking selfies in front of waterfalls. This is the sort of thing, if you're really, really good at what you do, doesn't matter how big your audience is. If you have a trust level, you can bring people along for the ride. There are so many things that you can do here that you probably haven't even turned your attention to yet, because the people at the high end of the market doing this don't want you to know. But they've probably got, we've counted 14 different ways that we help our clients commercialize their influence, from things like sponsorship and board appointments to creating media divisions, a la what Martha Stewart has done with her brand, for example. All of it, television, you've got, sponsorship, you've got coaching and consulting, you've got courses, all of those different things. Probably you've got one or two of them. Maybe you've got a book, maybe you've got a coaching offer, maybe you've got whatever, a product or something that you're putting out into the market. There's so many different ways that you can leverage your brand. And I'm on the, it's my mission to tell everyone who's really good at what they do that this is a moment in time that you can take advantage of that. Don't leave it to the 20-year-old Instagram stars. This is your moment.
Love that. Yeah, very powerful. And I'm sure everybody, is hopefully taking notes there as well, because, really powerful to understand that, because, when we get into business, right, we want to be providing our, services and products or whatever it is into the market. Then we're obviously, we're making money, we're creating value, we're, hopefully reinvesting in the business, we're growing it. But it gets to a point, personally, I know that you get to the investor stage as well, where it's like, okay, well, what do we do with the money? How can we make the money work for us? And the business is a vehicle for that, but it's also, do we invest in other businesses? And this is where it links in with your advising and equity sort of stake, or invest in other investments there. And that's where it starts to become more interesting. So it's being around people that are at this high level, whether it's Kathryn or other people, that it's like, hey, have you thought about doing this? This is a different way to be able to get into businesses. And then you start to play at a different level, right? Than other people. And that's where it starts to become really interesting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not just one linear pathway in your business, and if you can open yourself up to the possibility that there are multiple revenue streams that you're missing out on, you just haven't thought about it that way, or even you don't know what you don't know. That if you can open yourself up to those possibilities, that's where a lot of the wealth creation is coming from. There's your business, which, it's a Kiyosaki model, right? The business is where the cash comes from. Your cash flow comes from your assets. So that's where a lot of people are using their personal brand very powerfully to invest in things that are just really joyful for them, but they're making an absolute killing from a wealth perspective as well as impact. So open yourself up to that possibility as early as possible in the piece, and you'll be in really great stead to grow your business in an extraordinary way.
Yeah, definitely love that. And let's maybe delve in a little bit more about media things, because I know that like we're seeing it a lot more now, and like, from a very simple sense, probably a lot of people will see it, the little logos as seen on, these little media outlets and things like that. And I think there's a lot of different levels of media from what I see, from sort of entry level to really high level. You've got the Forbes and, all these types of people, right? So do you want to maybe share a little bit more about media and what we should think about? Because I think it's not just necessarily getting into the media, it's how we're utilizing that to elevate the brand and maybe put something out there that's actually going to help us at the same time, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly right. You are absolutely spot on. So as someone who's been in marketing and the communication game for a really long time, what I absolutely know to be true is that you can waste a lot of time and money on vanity projects that just put some sort of trust badge on your website and do very little to actually get you a return on investment. It's very, very important to me, because I work with very, very busy people, that every opportunity we put in front of them has a return on investment, a very high return on investment, or a very strategic reason for us to be putting them on this platform. So from my perspective, I would much rather my clients focus on the less sexy media or speaking opportunities, but the ones that are actually going to get them in front of the people who really are the right buyers, or the right partners, or the right investors, or the right, the right people who are going to bring them, amplify their strategy, the right connectors, the right catalyst for their growth. So every decision that we make around speaking opportunities, media opportunities, is always very much focused on strategic visibility and the outcome, that return on investment. So I would, like I said, I would much rather, me personally, I'd much rather hang out here with you and be talking to your extraordinary audience, and for you and I to be creating this connection and having this fun conversation. Then there's no point me getting on Good Morning America and talking about this message, or would just be vanity. There'd be no point to it. So I'd much rather do that. I've had clients who've gone into workshops or other people's masterminds, and we've strategically placed them in there, and they spend an hour and they've done $500,000 worth of sales. The reason that I love that so much more is with 16 people of the right eyeballs, it's so much more fun to do. You get a really great return on investment. And, it's going to be so much more fun to work with those people, for that client to be working with them in the longer term. They're great networks, and there's a good strategic visibility opportunity in the longer term as well. So we think about things that way. There's always a place, though, for, you were talking about the idea of, you see those banners on a lot of websites that have as seen in Forbes and Thrive and what have you. We definitely will run that strategy for our clients. If they haven't done media before, we want those trust badges on their website, because there is an absolute, the market will absolutely attribute credibility and success to where you've been seen in earned media, and what stages you've spoken on. So there is an absolute time and a place for you to be leveraging those things. So we will absolutely, you'll see on my website, we've got Forbes and all sorts of things on there, and I still do those. I still do a lot of that. I was on Koshi's Business Builders on Monday, filming for them. That's awesome media, bit more mainstream, love doing it, but that's a really great trust badge to have on the website. So there is a time and place for doing those things. But ultimately, if I was to really want to pick and choose where I spend my time, I'd love to get into someone's, into a mastermind, have fun with those people, really create a great relationship with them, and hopefully do some sales as well, or create partnerships or networks for the future. That to me is time well spent, because when you get busy, you need to be thinking about what's going to get me to that biggest vision, rather than wasting my time. So that's my strong take on it.
Yeah, awesome. Love that. It's really powerful. And let's talk about maybe the other side of branding that people don't want to talk about. But with branding, I know that we can damage our brand, right? With certain things that we do. And obviously we don't want to do that. So what are you seeing of some of the biggest mistakes or something people are doing, or maybe not necessarily your clients, but just you're seeing in the market that could potentially have a damaging effect on our brand, and to refrain from doing that, because that way, we're not going to set ourselves up for failure. We want to set ourselves up for success instead.
Yeah. Great question again. My goodness gracious. So, okay. What I think is the biggest mistake is copying. That is the one thing that just really gets up my nose, and it can damage a brand in a heartbeat. If people know that you're inauthentic, or you're not the owner of that message, I think you can damage your brand. I don't even think there's any repairing that. You've seen a lot of people caught doing that recently. There's been some pretty high profile people where it was intentional or not intentional. Maybe a staff member did it. That's been the excuse, copying someone else's messaging or what have you. There's been some fundamental mistakes in that area. I just think really, if you are at the top end of the market, again, step into your greatness and your power and have an independent, extreme pioneering message. You'll never run into that problem. It's when you start to look at everyone else in the market and listen to your audience, and then you start thinking, oh, I've got to talk this way because that's what the market wants me to say. That's when you run into those problems. So I think it's being inauthentic or copying is probably the worst type of thing that you can do. I don't think that you can really make a mistake if you're honest and authentic and speak with power and credibility. You can be alpha, you can be powerful and potent and all of those things. It can be controversial. I've got quite a number of clients who love picking fights. It's fine. If you like to play that way, go for it. That's fine. You can certainly, as long as you're happy to have the fight. But I think the other thing is there's another piece of this. So there's that, be authentically you and be really deeply honest and high quality messaging that's independently thought out by you, I think is probably the biggest answer there. And the mistake is copying, thinking that you need to do it this way because everyone else is doing it. I think you do a lot of damage that way. There's another piece of this that really I feel it could be very important as well to talk about. And that is if you happen to make a mistake. So I think this is something that I'm not sure if you're pointing to this, but it's certainly been top of mind for me over the last couple of years with Black Lives Matter, and we've had the Me Too movement and the whole cancel culture. And do you sit on, the extreme right wing of politics, or do you, where do you sit in this whole thing? And there's anti-vax right now. And so my take on this is, if you make a mistake, so my point is, be authentically you. If you want to pick a fight, you want to go out there and you want to talk about anti-vax, or you want to talk about herd immunity, or you want to talk about whatever the controversial statement is that you want to take, just be super sure that you're happy to take the backlash that's going to come with that. And if you make a mistake, get out there and talk about it really fast. So it's the people who put their head into the sand and ignore it are the ones that pay the penalty with reputational damage that can last a lifetime. There's a lot of examples of that. Chrissy Teigen's a really good example of that right now, where she's part of this whole cancel culture thing. I don't know if anyone's been following along with that. I haven't deeply, but at the surface level, you've got a very famous woman who used to troll, and she's built this gorgeous personal brand where she's got millions and millions of followers. And she was the one cancelling people frequently. And now she's fallen victim to that because people have gone and found these troll-like posts from before. If you actually look at how Chrissy's been dealing with that over the last couple of months, I actually think it's a masterclass in how to revive your personal brand when you've made a mistake. She got out there very quickly. She was very honest about, the mistakes that she's made. She still gets a lot of hate, but equally, she's got her eye on the prize. She knows she's made a mistake. She knows the pathway to get through that and keep people on the journey with her is just to keep showing up and being honest and being truthful and being sorry about the way that she behaved previously. I think that's just all that we can all do. If you make a mistake, and you will, just own up to it, be honest about it, and move on and continue to be powerful, and know that, just don't give up, I think is probably the big message that I would have there as well. If you just make one mistake, don't think that's it. You will get another stab at this. It's okay. Just keep going.
Yeah, I love that. Amazing points there. And I think what's becoming bigger and bigger now, I know this is, the clients that you're working with and who I work with about, coaching and mentoring, right? Like, being able to get help from people that are further down the line than us, that can help us in different ways. So I want to hear about it in your view, about how important coaching, mentoring is in business and what has helped you, to achieve as well.
Yeah, okay. So I belong to quite a number of masterminds, and I've got quite a number of different coaches for different things. I used to, when I was in my 20s, I didn't value this at all. And it was stupid. It was such a mistake to not invest in great mentoring. But now I've learnt over time to invest in people who, I know I've got this particular set of skills that I'm really, really masterful at. But equally, there's a whole raft of things that I'm not great at. And all of them are really important to growing a business and growing me personally and etc. So I'm a big advocate in investing in not even just one coach, but thinking about the different areas that you need to focus on and get true masters to mentor you or help you through each of those different areas. So I have, I've got someone that I'm working with on this like big scale lead generation side of my business, who's the best in the world at that. I've got someone who's working with me on scaling group coaching models, which hasn't been my thing because I'm really good at the high end of the market. So I'm working with someone there. I've got people that are working with me on health and those sorts of areas of my life because I work till my fingers bleed type of, work ethic. And so having someone call me on that and make sure that I focus also on my my family and my health and those sorts of things is important. So I've got multiple mentors. I've got another amazing mentor who helps me with assets and where to put our wealth. So big advocate. I think just invest in the very best people that you can. The programs that you're running, awesome for growing your business and, getting incredible outcomes for your business. That really, really important. And then as you grow, add in, do you need someone to help you with wealth creation and assets? Do you need someone to help you with your personal brand? Think about where your vulnerabilities or your weaknesses are and just invest in the best people to help you through that. The other thing I really love about this is actually not working one-on-one with people, but getting into really high-level groups. I've become a big advocate for that over the last few years. It's become more and more and more important to me to put myself into networks where I'm with peers. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I really just don't want to be. I want to be around people who will challenge me, who are doing extraordinary work, who are, 2 or 3 steps ahead of me. So I can not just be a part of the community and add my value to it, but also be learning from what everyone else and be inspired by what my peers are up to. So I think also, if you can, a lot of people think, it's, be better to do one-on-one. I'm a really, really strong advocate now for group is much better than one-on-one. And if you'd asked me that, or you didn't ask me that question, I'm offering that just anyway. But if you had asked me that question a couple of years ago, I would have said, get one-on-one. But now that I'm in a number of very, very powerful networking, true mastermind groups that are almost run like think tanks, there is nothing like it if you can find a really good one.
Yeah, I love that. What an amazing answer. I completely agree. And, I've got multiple coaches and mentors myself. And I guess, some people may start at the one-on-one model, but getting into the groups and the masterminds is, your network is your net worth, as they say, right? So we've got to be able to build that. And you never know where that could lead to different partnerships and things like that as well. So, as we're sort of wrapping things up now, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs and everybody listening and watching today?
Yes. My big piece of advice is to think big, to be brave, and to realize that if you just play mainstream, you're limiting your potential. Those of us in the coaching and the strategy space, we're all about you living to your truest potential and your biggest potential. I'm a massive advocate of you stepping into your greatness. And what I really, really mean by that is actually being really, truly, uniquely you, being that extreme pioneer and thinking about what is the expanded vision of what you want to achieve while you're on this planet. And then really focusing in on how can I do this in the biggest possible way, knowing that knowing that there is the potential for you to be working with high net worth individuals and charging a huge amount of money, in which case then you can take that money if it's the impact that's important, and you can use those extraordinary margins and the profit at that high end of the market to then get that message out to a broader audience. So in a nutshell, it is think big, step into your greatness, and realize that there is a market at the top end that you may not be tuned into, but open your eyes to that. Look up and open your eyes, because there is brilliance there and there is an opportunity there. You just haven't seen it yet.
I love that. So powerful. So yeah, we connected through our networks, where I learned about your amazing journey from having founded and run 2 multi-million-dollar global companies to now revolutionizing the luxury branding and marketing for, experts, leaders, and personal brands. You've won many prestigious awards due to your awesome client results. You're an amazing woman, and I'm sure you continue to innovate the way we do branding globally. So I'm very grateful that we connected, and I look forward to working with you in the future as well. So how can people find you and get in contact with you, Kathryn?
Yeah, can I just say before I let people know that, I just want to say thank you as well. This has been an absolute pleasure. You asked some amazing questions, and it shows the power of a network, right? So we did connect through a speaking opportunity that I had through a colleague of mine. And so this is the power of getting out there and increasing your networks. And I know that we're going to be great mates moving forward. So thank you. I'm very humbled to be here. As far as where to check me out, the best place is to go to businessbravery.com. On businessbravery.com, you'll see loads of freebies and masterclasses and all sorts of information about the idea of working at the luxury level and what this really means, and actually break it down on there in digestible chunks. So it's probably the best way to check out what we do and open yourself up to the possibilities of what luxury means for your personal brand.
Love that. You're very welcome, and it's been a pleasure as well. So thank you everyone for watching and listening to this show, where we talk about everything on business growth. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. I completely agree with you, or do I? The only way we know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. Have a great day.